From the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications, your home for the latest Marshall University news and sports, you're watching MU Report.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for our 5th edition of MU Report Spring 2018. I'm Rebecca Turnbull.
And I'm Sabrina Hurst. We are a student-produced newscast of the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications at Marshall University. We air this broadcast not only on West Virginia Public Broadcasting, but also Network West Virginia and YouTube. Now on to our top story. Marshall Day at the Capitol has taken on new significance and urgency as lawmakers struggle to come up with money for higher education. What started as a promotional tool several years ago has turned into a megaphone of sorts, a way to keep Marshall and its importance on the legislators' radar. Marshall University contributes nearly $400 million and 3,200 jobs to West Virginia's economy each year. And that was showcased at the Capitol.
It's really a very satisfying, gratifying day to see one of the flagship universities of America, frankly, Marshall University, be so well represented within the halls of the state capitol.
Alumni could be found all throughout the Capitol between senators, House representatives, and employees.
I want people to realize that Marshall is a very relevant university with lots of quality students and quality faculty that are doing outstanding things that are world class.
Alumni, legislators, and participants were encouraged to wear Kelly green to show their support.
There's so many delegates and senators that are alumni of Marshall University, and it's very reassuring to go in there and see all the people wearing green, especially knowing that they attended the school.
Marshall Day featured Marshall's Fife and Drum Corps, display booths, a resolution, and recognition of the Marshall family.
It's such a wonderful institution that does such amazing work, and we want to help and support and facilitate the mission of the university as we move forward.
The resolution was passed January 24, 2018, declaring that day Marshall University Day.
Many students might not realize they need to take precautions when it comes to the winter months. As Brooke Griffin reports, keeping your apartment protected from the chilly temperatures is a must.
2018 has been off to a frigid start with 10 days recorded below the freezing mark since the New Year's bells rang. With record-setting temperatures comes the need to winterize several different things in your apartment.
Main rule of thumb is if you feel the air, you want to block it off. And that'll keep the heat inside your house or apartment.
Cool air seeping in under windows and doors can lead to a sky-high electric bill, with the heat working harder than it should to keep your home away from home nice and toasty.
If you take all the right steps, you can lower your heat down probably 10-15% just by doing some small steps to your house.
Keeping the cool air out of your apartment is important, but professionals say that windows and doors are not the only thing to worry about. Bathroom and kitchen pipes are one of the most common factors that young people often overlook.
Want the water to drip, to keep the lines open. At night, nice steady drip will allow the water to flow and not freeze and stay in one spot and freeze over.
When pipes freeze over, they can be difficult to fix. The pipes could burst if not defrosted properly, which ultimately leads to a bigger issue.
At night, you could open your cabinets, sink-based cabinets, to let the heat in. That'll help keep the lines warm and not freeze over.
Although these are just a few aspects of winterizing your apartment, there are easy kits to buy at local hardware stores that make the process easier, or even try home remedies that are a little cheaper. So professionals say that if you are feeling those breezy drafts in between your windows and your doors, to simply take a rug or even a towel and slip it under your door, just like this, to keep the heat in and the cool air out. Brooke Griffin, MU Report.
Recently, it's been hard to tell what the weather will be like from one day to the next. The reasons behind the unpredictable season may be more complex than simple claims of climate change. With the start of the new year came some wild temperatures for West Virginia. One week, people are trekking through slick ice and snow. The next week, walks are made easier with warm, breezy air. Some Marshall students believe these sudden weather changes are cause for concern.
Because of the global warming and the climate change, the thing is happening. I mean, sometimes we are getting a pretty warm weather and sometimes it's freezing.
Let's put this in practical terms.
Marshall meteorology professor Dr. Kevin Law says the recent trend of placing the blame on climate change alone may be misguided.
Some think it's more or just totally human induced, and then some think it's totally natural. I think it's a very complex system. It's hard to pinpoint it just down on one thing. I think there are a lot of things we still don't know, and I think there are a lot of factors still at play.
One of the biggest factors in varying weather has to do with something called the global jet stream, a fast-moving band of air that brings warm and cold fronts over land depending on how it bends. Those bends tend to have more extreme effects in the winter.
Like up in central Canada, it's extremely cold this time of year, but the south is generally warm, so there's more of a temperature difference, and that's what creates then that stronger jet stream, which allows more variation. But during the summertime, it's even hot up in central Canada, and it's still very hot down in the south. So it's hot all over, and you don't usually get those sharp temperature variations during those months.
Weather radars that follow the jet stream indicate we should see some temperatures stay a little warmer than usual for the next few weeks. That warmer weather would be welcomed by many on Marshall's campus. Kayla Simmons reports how Marshall staff has to go the extra mile to keep students safe during bad weather.
Starts when we start watching the news, watching what the forecast is, and then we'll see what the timing is. If the storm's going to come in the afternoon, we start preparing early in that morning.
If they see a snowstorm coming in the early morning, Marshall Grounds Department starts preparing for it the night before.
Our first steps is to make sure we have all of our ice melting materials and stuff here in stock here at Physical Plant, and make sure all the vehicles and all the equipment's operating prior to any snow.
Campus is about 112 acres, just downtown campus. So that's what we have to cover. Of course, most of it is sidewalks or impervious surfaces, so we have to remove the snow from there.
The Physical Plant also oversees the Visual Arts Center, RCBI, and other off-site campuses as well.
What we try to do is first is get, when the snow's hitting, and we try to, if there's nobody here, we try to start at the center, work in the center and work our way out. And by the time faculty and staff gets in here, then as they're walking to the buildings from the parking areas, it's already clean when they get there.
While Marshall's Physical Plant operators are help keeping the university safe, you can keep yourself safe by stepping out of the way when you see a snow brush on campus. Kayla Simmons, MU Report.
As well as stepping out of the way of the grounds department, students can also improve their safety during the winter by wearing shoes with traction and bundling up to keep warm.
Coming to college is a major adjustment, but for some Marshall basketball players, they have to adjust to more than just the average student athlete. Making Marshall University home for two of Marshall's basketball players has taken the effort of university athletics, coaches, and teammates.
It took a while to get used to it. It's really hard to say what's different. Just, people, traditions, everything is way different than it was back home. But after you get used to it, I really feel like Huntington and Marshall are my second home now, so I really love it here.
Coming to play basketball in America was a big decision for Ideen and his family.
It felt like the right move. I sat down with my family, we talked about it, and it just felt right, and I think I made the right choice.
Marshall University's basketball team has made adapting to a culture shock, language barrier, and homesickness a little more adjustable for Ideen and Millen.
Coach Tony is a really good teacher off and on the court. Of course, he got so much experience on the NBA.
What comes at the end of the season is a new beginning, but it's what Ideen and Millen take away from their experience.
It's called experience. It's been a journey, 4 years here. I came as a boy, living as a man. It's a great journey.
The culture change hasn't affected the two Marshall forwards. Ideen is currently the leading shot blocker in the nation for Division I basketball, and Millen is starting for the Herd. College basketball is in full swing, and the Marshall men's basketball team is making a name for themselves. The team's most recent home series has some sports fans paying more attention to the Herd. Marshall's men's basketball team won in an overtime thriller against UAB to conclude a sweep of the top two ranked teams in Conference USA preseason poll during the same week.
We are in the ring now. We're throwing haymakers, we're swinging, so I think we got a good shot to go out and keep rolling.
I always said, we can be a very, very good defensive team,
And you know, Scott Rougeau does a lot with our defense, and they're picking it up, and they're taking the challenge, and that's why we won, really, or looking like it could be a real contender as we get to the tournament time.
The Herd currently has the highest scoring duo in college basketball in John Elmore and CJ Burks. The Herd just recently rematched against Western Kentucky and lost with a score of 85-74. The next time Herd fans can catch Marshall men's basketball at home is February 8th when they take on FIU.
The Marshall Dining Services recently introduced 2 new chefs at Harless Dining Hall by holding a flame-filled meet and greet with students. Adam Stevens reports how the new chefs offer more than just good food.
For Marshall Dining Services, it's about more than just food.
We want to make sure that our students here at Marshall University are well taken care of.
Marshall Dining Services introduced 2 new executive chefs, Anthony Taylor and Matthew Anderson, at Harless Dining Hall during a meet and greet with students.
What better way than to actually cook for them in front of them and make great tasting food and serve it to them right then and there.
The chefs were able to get to know students while preparing flame-cooked desserts, allowing the dining services a chance to become more personable to the Marshall community.
We're approachable. Come talk to us. You know, we want to hear what you have to say about the culinary program. We want to help in any way that we can. And even if it's not food related, you need someone to talk to. A friendly, familiar face. You know, we're here for them.
We had a lot of fun. Seemed like a lot of the kids had fun with us. It was nice being able to get out into the public, see everybody, talk to everybody, just the interaction.
Even though the food may be the main focus for the Marshall Dining Services, connecting with students is also something they want to make sure that they put effort into. Adam Stevens, MU Report.
With the deadlines for graduation paperwork near, some students are wondering if they are running behind. As Brooke Griffin reports, there is still time to make sure that you get to turn your tassel in celebration this spring.
Spring graduation is rapidly approaching, leaving some students left in the dark on what they need to do to be able to walk across the stage.
You think it'd be like pretty much in bold, like clear writing, like you don't want to miss out, like this is your chance, and also the fact that it's $50, because I did not know that, which I guess it's expected.
The deadline to apply for the May 5th graduation date is February 2nd, which is only 4 days from today.
After the deadline, there might be some consequences if you don't apply in time.
But I do plan on doing that this week, so I hope to get it done just because I clearly don't want to miss the deadline.
If you are unsure if you are going to be academically eligible to receive your diploma in a few months, the registrar's office does have a few tips.
My recommendation would be to go see your advisor in your college, make sure that you've met all your requirements to graduate, because you still have some time to add a second 8 weeks class in case you are missing something. So I would say go make sure that you have all your requirements met and paid your fee through the application and submit your application online.
For those who are able to finish their academic careers this spring, there will be a Countdown to Commencement program in early March.
There'll be a chance for you to get your cords and tassel and all that, meet with the bookstore, get a cap and gown in case there's anything you need there.
The registrar encourages students to get the application turned in as soon as possible to ensure that their name will be in the program given away at the ceremony.
In just 3 short months, hundreds of students and families will gather here in the Big Sandy Arena to celebrate the commencement ceremonies and all the achievements that they have accomplished throughout the past 4 years. Brooke Griffin, MU Report.
Any questions can be answered at the Countdown to Commencement program in March. I personally have already registered for graduation. I'm very excited. How about you, Sabrina?
Yeah, you know, I didn't think almost 4 years later, and here we are, but that's all the time we have for this edition of MU Report. Our newscast is completely generated by the students in the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications. MU Report is a television lab, and we're glad you're watching. You can always catch this newscast on YouTube, and be sure to follow our reporters on Twitter and MU Report on Facebook. I'm Sabrina Hurst.
And I'm Rebecca Turnbull. Have a great day.